Well, hello, Facebook. How are you? I am here with my good friend Amy. And yeah, this girl, she is incredible. And I asked Amy to sit down with me and kind of go over some stuff. She was in the Next Level Collective. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk a little bit about Amy and her HR background and her business because she is incredible. So, Amy, who are you? What are you doing? What's going on here?
That's always such a hard question to answer.
Right, who are you?
Yes, so, well, my name's Ammie Michaels. I am a South Dakota native. I have grown up in the Black Hills most of my life. Married, been married to my husband, it'll be 25 years on Monday.
Oh, congratulations, that's beautiful.
He has been my rock. We have 2 kids, 18-year-old son and a 14-year-old daughter.
Okay.
And then we have 2 crazy dogs. You know, when you ask who I am, I would just say that I try to relate with everybody. I look for the good in people. I feel that I'm honest, genuine person.
Yeah, I believe that. That's what drew me to this beautiful woman here, is this her heart and the way she gives people space. I've gotten to work with Amy in a few different collective. How when you got part of that collective, what made you say yes? What was it?
You know, I honestly didn't really totally know what I was getting into. But I had heard multiple people talk about how life-changing it was for them. And so I couldn't help but be intrigued, you know, even though I wasn't totally sure the ins and outs and everything that was involved with it. You know, I knew that there was work that I had to do. And so even though it was scary, I dove in.
You dove in. Yeah, we just actually had a conversation with a good friend of mine, Katie, that also did the program with me. But you have done a lot of personal work in life. And so what was it about this collective, this cohort process that was different after coming through? I mean, you've done a lot of work. So can you kind of guide us in there a little bit?
Yeah, and I would say I didn't even really start doing any personal work until I was well into adulthood. Honestly, it wasn't until I really had kids that set me down that path of starting to do some inner work. But most of the work that I had done before this was kind of in the corporate world, and the professional development that you do in the corporate world is more like logical, you know.
Okay.
So the thing that drew me to the Next Level Collective and the cohort work is the total opposite of that. After becoming an entrepreneur and exploring ways to manage everything that comes with that from like a nervous system perspective, I started dipping my toe into like woo work.
Woo, yeah, I've heard that before, right?
I would say only about a year ago. And so all of this was very new to me, to explore other ways of thinking and being. And I would say the thing that was most different about the cohort work is that it really does make you evaluate your patterns of behavior. It helps you really kind of understand when you're going down a circle of thinking. And it's more internal and like body-based work versus logical.
Right, and that is something that I found so profound is with this work that I do, it is different. different. It is really outside of the box, and it really gives people like individuals a whole new, I think, understanding about themselves and their own bodies and how they're showing up with the patterns of behavior. So with HR, from your lens of HR, what do you think companies misunderstand about people development, and what do they desperately need to know more of?
Yeah, so this is a good one. Being in HR, you are able to kind of start to learn different behaviors and personalities, and you can identify who people are kind of from an outside perspective, and be able to kind of categorize them based on just kind of how they act and react to certain situations. But in terms of like personal development, I think one of the, I don't want to say that it's wrong, but the corporate world, their approach to professional development is basically, how can we develop this person for our benefit,
Right.
not for their benefit.
Right.
And also, you can't make somebody change if they're not ready to change.
True.
They have to want to go through any sort of development, to go through any sort of change. You know?
Right.
But yeah, that's the biggest thing. Like, they're not in it to develop somebody for their own benefit. It's for how can
we benefit the company,
yes.
Right? And what we've learned in working in corporate world is that actually these individuals are actually doing so much more for their corporate company when we're feeding them.
Yes.
Which is unbelievable. It's like they start to realize the patterns of behavior, how they're acting or reacting in their day-to-day lives at work and at home. So Next Level Collective is a little different, right? I mean, and when we get invited into corporation, it's really exciting because I get to work with people like you that are in HR and can understand a little bit more that we are different. Yeah, and that we are looking at the individual, because I truly know that you hold all the answers, right? So I want to go into kind of going all over the place, but you recently stepped into the next chapter and launched your own HR business.
Yes.
So what inspired that leap, and what are you doing? I want to tell everybody about this.
Yes. So, well, I've been in HR for quite some time. I've worked in corporate settings. I've worked for mom and pops. Over the last about 4 years or so, I was an independent HR consultant working with a firm, but I wasn't able to control who I worked with, the clientele, and the firm that I was supporting was out of California. So all of the clients that I supported were also in other states. And so I was doing that well before the pandemic, and it really got to the point where I was very isolated. I didn't realize how isolated I was because I was just sitting behind a computer, and all of my interactions were just through a computer screen.
Okay.
And so, you know, it was just kind of a light bulb moment, really. I woke up in the morning and I was like, why am I wasting my life in front of a computer screen working in human resource that is very dehumanizing?
I got goosebumps. That's powerful. Powerful.
And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do this on my own, and I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to work with people that I want to work with.
And be able to interact, right?
Yes. Yep.
I mean, so what is it? Who is that target customer for you? Because you work with so many amazing and different people. What does that look like for our people out here that are listening?
Yeah. So I want to work with people that genuinely care about their people. A lot of small businesses need that support, and either A, they don't know that there is an option out there, or B, they think they can't afford to hire a full-time person. So what I'm able to do is come in and be a fractional HR partner for them. And I do it at a flat rate. So it's scalable and predictable for them, which is a little bit different than other HR consultants or fractional professionals that.
Right, and I love that because for me as a big small business owner, and I had owned my business 16 years, had no idea that someone like you existed because it could have been so helpful. And we will also add Amy's information so that some of my small business people can find you too. Because what are things that you can do to help some of these small business people understand, or because I didn't know that this could be a need, that it could be met for me and fulfilled and be fulfilling. So can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. I would say the biggest thing that I'm able to help support with is, coming in and helping you maybe figure out what you don't know. There's things that I don't know about, like the business world, even though I have 2 business degrees. But it's completely different when you're running your own business than when you are working in one particular sector of a corporate office. I don't have to know about marketing or finance if I am working in just HR in the corporate world. But when you step into being a business owner, now you need to know all of it. Right. And a lot of times business owners are wearing all of those hats. So I'm able to come in and help you take that HR hat off of your plate. And make sure that you are protected as a business owner, that you're legally compliant, you're following all the laws, you have all of the appropriate insurances in place. I had somebody reach out to me, their employer did not have workman's comp coverage, and he got hurt. So that employer learned the hard way that there's certain, they didn't know what they didn't know. And so I just want to help protect small businesses and be that trusted partner for them.
Yeah, and wear that hat for them, because as we know, like I wore all the hats, and I'm so grateful for the people in my life that helped and directed, and I asked questions. I think as a small business owner, that's a really big one, is to ask these questions, right? Yeah. And glad I had that skill, because we aren't alone. You know what I mean? And this Next Level Collective, the program that I put together was really, the thought process was individuals that own businesses. That's who I worked with for a really long time, is entrepreneurs across the state. And to show them that we're not alone, right? And we're not alone in this either. And so thank you so much for doing what you do. So now kind of going back to this Next Level Collective and you sitting with me for a year, and not only did Amy work with me in the cohort process in the group, but she got to work with me in corporate as well. And so I want to know for you, what part of the program challenged you the most, and what part kind of held you also, like with that Next Level Collective cohort?
Yeah, so I think what challenged me the most was, I can't tell you how many times, even going through the work, I was like, ugh, I dread the next cohort because I knew that something would be uncovered. And it is scary work, not everybody is open to exploring their darkest thoughts, their darkest times, facing some of the hard stuff that you've been through, but it's also where the growth happens.
So what are some rewards that you've seen from you doing the work?
I have a lot more internal peace. That's been the biggest thing. Being able to just release some of that, whatever it is that holds you down or weighs you down, stuff that you may not even know is there until you start kind of uncovering and digging. But yeah, just I feel lighter. And when I'm not gonna cuss because we're live, but when life puts you through crap, I feel more equipped to face it and handle it.
Yeah. I feel that.
Yeah.
I've been doing this work for so long, and I think, yeah, when life kind of gives you lemons, right? I've really learned how to make some great lemonade. Saying that nicely, right?
I prefer to make limoncello.
Oh, see, yeah, there you go, girl. I like that. Oh, man. So how do the accountability, the sisterhood, and the structure support your growth in ways you hadn't experienced before?
Yeah, I would say that was huge for me because I don't think that I'm alone in this situation where, I mean, you have daughters, I have a daughter. I grew up with very distant maternal figures. So I felt very alone, and also I have a lot of negative memories of other women. Like it's instead of it being a situation where I was able to collaborate with women, it was always like a competition, especially in corporate, because you know, you have to keep up with the guys, and if you want a seat at the table, it's about, you know, crawling or clawing your way up to the top, and you don't have a lot of support from other women. And so this was a different situation for me, and I appreciate how the cohort has the structure that it does to provide that safety, and to know that, you know, everybody else that's going through it, you know, is going through this or is committed to the rules and the safety. So.
Right, and that's a big part of this program is safety. Because in this world, it is. I mean, we all probably have even friendships that have went sour, and people, you know, when life gets tough, I mean, sometimes people will cut you down and to make it above, you know. And I've seen it over and over. And I really, this last year, I focused on women. I do have women in men groups. And I work with both men and women. But this last year, I really wanted to pull women together because of this, the societal thing that has happened. And we see it with partnerships, like women and men relationships, which is interesting. And so I wanted to challenge that a little bit. Yeah. So, yeah, I just, again, going back into that, how did that feel being in a program with the women that you were and working through this really hard, tough stuff? I mean, this is real life things that you're stuck on, and you are opening yourself up and being vulnerable. What did that do for you?
I think it just, it opened up more of my own femininity. I grew up as the firstborn, and I think a lot of firstborns feel a weight of responsibility, and I think a lot of masculinity comes with that, whether you're male or female, and, you know, having to be the responsible one. And I feel like most of my life up to this point, I was very much living in masculine energy. And so being able to have soul sisters in this really just awakened the feminine side.
They can be a little bit softer, right? Yeah, and I love just some of the things as you're working through your stuff, and we have this share where we can share within the sisters or people in that cohort. And you were just such a guiding light, Ammie. I mean, watching from the coaching position, it was so beautiful. And I just have to thank you so much for showing up in your true, authentic, raw person. And how has that kind of showed up then for other parts of your life? Maybe as a wife, as a business owner, as a mom, has there been any changes in that for you?
I would say there has been for me, and I hope that my family can say that as well. I would say my husband and I have always had a fairly open relationship, but we have had much deeper conversations over this last year than we ever had in our entire 25 years. I've been able to have very open conversations with my kids as well. And I think being able to make myself vulnerable has allowed that to happen in our household. I've never really thought about that without that question coming up today, but I would say.
Well, thank you, because I think too, I'm a better mother. I mean, I had the opportunity to sit with my daughter and have a conversation live with all of you, and kind of be the change, right? And I always thought I had to be a tough mom, right? I had to do these things and I had to be a mom and whatever. But what I didn't realize is that I was showing up in a different way than what she needed. And so with the questions that we asked, like in cohort, I started to utilize those and to better understand who was in my life, right? I get to know you beautiful humans more by asking these insightful questions. And why not use them in my own family? So with saying that, how has those questions helped you as well, just on a day-to-day basis, or have you used them?
I wouldn't say that I've gotten to the point where I'm using them on a day-to-day basis, but definitely a weekly basis. It's helped me have deeper conversations just in general with people and really truly connect with them and get to know them as an individual and not just what their profession is or who they're married to. It's just like, who are you?
Right?
Like, how can our souls support each other?
Right. And I think for so long I felt so like alone, I think, because of these surface level conversations. And what I really wanted to bring to this world and to people like you, and I wanted to get to know people on a deeper level, but how do you do that? And so that's where the cohort process came in, is because you all get space to learn how to be a coach as well, right? So it's like you have all the answers, like these amazing humans come together, and then we get to practice and figure out how to communicate, right? It just makes my heart happy just listening to you too. It's just so cool. This keeps coming up for me. Tell me about this. Tell me about this cool book. I gotta show you guys. Right here, and then on the back, look at this. Can you pick out Ammie? Okay, Ammie, tell me about this.
So this is a book that I wrote with a group of other women entrepreneurs. I
got goosebumps right now, just FYI.
So it's basically all of us talking about why we went into business, and we all wanted our businesses to have a bigger impact. And so all the proceeds from this book actually go to a homeless shelter. So we banded together and picked a shelter based out of North Carolina. And so not only are we wanting to have an impact in our businesses, we want to be able to have an impact and give back too.
Amazing. Like, again, it comes back to as we're working together, like solely, if I'm just doing this, right, and just by myself, I can only have so much impact, but together, oh my gosh, right?
Yes.
And having those conversations, and just like with this book, like, what can these other people out there be doing while collaborating, right?
Yeah.
And what does it take to collaborate? And I think that's a big question to be answered and asked of ourselves too, is what do I need to do in order to open myself up enough to collaborate, right?
Yeah. I would say for me, I probably would not have been able to do that if I hadn't done some internal work, because I was carrying around so much from my past, my childhood, that I'd never really faced. And it does weigh you down, and it keeps you closed off, probably because, I hadn't worked through that and I didn't want anybody else to see it,
Right.
But yeah, being open, and I would say that's the number one thing, to be able to collaborate with others, is to be able to accept them and be able to give to them.
Right. And I think for me, the service minded, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like everything that I've done, and some people call me crazy, but like I see so much beauty in the humans that are around, and we all have such gifts, and thank you for sharing that, because I saw that Amy, it was right here, and she's like, oh, this book, and I was like, oh, that is so cool. Like all like these things, right, that we do, and it's amazing. I'm so amazed by you in general and the things that you've done. Some of the questions that I have here are just, I don't know, they're all over. Is there a question that I had sent you that you felt kind of stuck out to you?
Yeah, you had asked a question about like my business and the cohort work. Like, how has it supported me?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I would say for me, it's helped how I approach my business energetically. It has relieved a lot of like that stress and pressure that I used to feel. I feel more open to be able to take on more, and I just want to be able to help spread that to others.
I love that. This one, so which tools and practices from the level up have stayed with you in your life and leadership style now?
Having those deeper conversations, being able to ask those insightful questions to maybe understand where people are coming from, what it is that maybe is holding them back, where I might be able to help them uncover their patterns of behavior.
What's keeping them small, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh gosh. And I think back at just our group, the group that you were in, that cohort, and how amazing you guys did with just working on this stuff, right? And how collaborative and just what it brought me back to is my story is your story is our story. And isn't it crazy, from these different people from different places that are living different lives, but the similarities? Can you give a little bit, without obviously giving anything up, but how that kind of processed for you?
Yeah, it was amazing. I had not met anybody else in the group prior to that except for one person, and we had very limited interactions. So it was, I would say, there were a lot of synchronicities out of our group, and it just shows how connected we are as humans without even knowing it.
Right? Isn't it crazy? And two, in the cohort that Amy was in, I mean, again, the age difference was there. I mean, all these difference, the way that they'd grown up. I mean, there was so much difference, but man, we had so many similarities.
Yes.
Right? It was such an honor to even hold space for all of you as you worked through your stuff. This work, it nurtures me. It's why I want to do it all the time, because just watching people kind of maneuver through their parts where they're stuck. Is there anything that kind of kept coming up for you that you were able to maybe face based on the work and the support that you had, that maybe you see a little bit more kind of light in that area where you're stuck?
Yeah, and I wasn't really expecting this, but there were certain things that would take me back to my childhood, and like little Ammie.
Yeah, little Amy. Oh. Yeah. And being able to give voice to that. And I think sometimes we get to a point where, again, like even being a mom, like I needed to be a mom and I needed to be tough and I didn't. I needed to just be human and be vulnerable. And sometimes I've had the conversation before, the messy middle, right? It's like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like I had this baby and now what do I do with it? But I guess, you know, all of us as humans are so different. And there's no book on each individual, right? I mean, you think about relationships, right? And being married. I mean, married for 25 years. That's amazing. Congratulations to you guys. And just learning that person. And I believe it helps to get more insight from a human than just asking informational questions, right? And that's part of this work, is learning the difference between informational and insightful questions.
Yes.
Yeah. Was there any part of you because the woo, right? I just gotta go back to that. But the spiritual transformation that was happening within you. Can you give anything on that a little bit of kind of understanding that maybe you're guided?
Yeah.
You know,
I think for me, I've tried a few different things. I've tried tapping, meditating. Has been difficult for me because I am an Enneagram 6. If anybody knows the Enneagram, that is 100% head. So not only is your primary, but both your wings are all thinking.
right.
So it's like I can never shut my brain off. But I think what I was able to kind of tap into a little bit more through this work is like identifying where I can feel things in my body. Like I wasn't paying attention to that before, and now like I can feel something hits me in the gut or in the heart. Whereas before it's just like I was so stuck in my head.
And I think that's part of like what I kind of bring into the program too, is that I'm been taught with different things, but to really bring people back home to their own bodies. And I think it is a huge tool, right? We don't learn that in corporate. I mean, I don't see it very often at all. And that's the work that I do, is kind of bring you back home to yourself, because it is, at the end of the day, it is you, you know? And I think that it gives you space to be able to say, okay, I can trust me. My body is the most amazing tool, and it's telling us things all the time. And I think teaching people some of those things is really good. Thank you for bringing that up, because it is a piece, right?
It is.
Like, and it's sometimes hard, because like you said.
Yeah, but I can also speak to the fact that before I did this work, when like things got really intense, there, like the anxiety and just how uncomfortable I could feel in my body, where I just want to crawl out of my skin. I haven't had any sensations like that since I started doing this work.
That is such a win. God, it's such a win. Because I hear you say that. Like, I hear it and I feel it. Because I, too, was very much like that. I remember telling a mentor at one time that I literally felt I was inside of a wall with all the ice or insulation. I'm like, oh my gosh, my skin is just crawling. Like, the anxiety was so high. And I think that these tools and the tool, you know, box, really do help. And I think, you know, part of the things that we look at is the iceberg theory. We do the hole in the bucket theory. We do kind of a control theory. What was your biggest aha tool that you had through this work?
Well, I think you probably already know, it's that control.
Ooh, it's a good one.
And my husband will tell you that he hates when I am the passenger in the car, because I still have not been able to let go of the control factor.
I love that.
Yeah, very much control.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is cool. I mean, the theory really is we really look at what we can control, what we can impact, and then what we can't control. And I mean, I've worked with hundreds of people, and myself included, but it is funny how much energy we put to something that we can't control.
Yeah.
And it's like learning to let that go and be like, okay, I have no control over this.
Mhm.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that also for me, that made things lighter for me. I think in my.
Yeah, I mean, once you kind of start evaluating whether or not it is something that you can control or is in your control, it kind of lessens your to-do list because like
Right. So it goes back to the hole in the bucket. You know, our hole in the bucket theory is, you know, we want to plug the bottom holes because all of our resources, time, energy are going out those. And usually those are attached to these belief system structures, patterns. And so what did you find from the hole in the bucket theory or hole in the bucket theory? Were you able to kind of identify where maybe you were like putting out the fires or tapping into the top holes? Is there something that you can kind of gain or?
So for the hole in the bucket, when I came into it, I thought that it was one particular thing. And that was not my lowest hole in the bucket. But it took doing some of the work to recognize that.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Because once you start digging, you're like, oh, wait, right? And
Yeah.
the iceberg theory comes in play with that. Because when we're up here, we want people to see us as a certain way, right?
Yeah.
People closest to us, our family members, see us a little different. They can see some of those patterns. And then that really deep down stuff, unless you do the work, you're just unaware. And I think that was the biggest, as I'm doing the work, as I'm teaching the work, is we were like programmed, like by age 4. Isn't that crazy? Like all of us, you know, and we have these, we're seriously like going into the world in our 40s and we're still programmed at the age 4. And it's like, oh gosh, that's crazy. I mean, we don't even have our computers or our phones. I mean, who gets their phones redone, you know, every couple of years or whatever, because it's new systems. And could you imagine having the phones that we had in high school? Those phones. It's like, oh my gosh. Oh man. So another question I really want to is, if another woman or man was on the fence about joining the Next Level Collective, what would you want him or her to know?
That they're doing themselves a disservice and their families and friends a disservice, because it really helps you learn more about you and how you can be the change.
Yeah, Mother Teresa talks about that, right? Go home and be the change at home. But how do you do that? And this work does that. This work helps you identify. And oh, so good. Yeah. So if you could plant one seed of wisdom in the hearts of the women and men listening to this, what would it be?
Oof. One seed of wisdom.
Yeah, because you got a lot of it, girl. And maybe even 2 seeds. I don't know. But these people, they need it because you're amazing.
That's a tough one. One seed of wisdom. Yeah, just to be curious, because you may think that you have life figured out or you know yourself, but it wasn't until I got curious and started doing this work that I was able to unpack some stuff and throw it away.
Right? Yeah. We talk about that in cohort, and that's how I work is curiosity and judgment can't live in the same place.
Yeah.
And for a long time, I was coming from a place of judgment. And until I really got kind of down and dirty, you know, and really called myself out, it was really about curiosity. And I think it helps when we get to know people and have those conversations. Like if I come at you and ask a question from judgment, like that's not going to get us anywhere.
No.
But if I really want to know why you made the choice that you did, man, it can uncover some beauty, right? Yeah. Oh, girl. All right. Well, is there one thing that you would like to say that you have not said yet?
If you are watching this and you're curious, I would definitely look into Next Level Collective and working with Jamie.
Oh, well, thank you. And I want to put a shout out to your business, girl. So we'll put all that information online as well. But what is your business called and how do they get a hold of you?
Wolfpack HR. You can reach us online at www.wolfpackhr.com. LinkedIn, you can just search Ammie Michaels. I'm on Instagram and Facebook at Wolfpack HR.
Yeah, and you want to get to know this girl. She's amazing and just full of wisdom. Amy, this your heart has always been. So thank you all so much. And we have another onboarding happening January 10th with Chris and I at the Lotus Building in Lead. And so you can find us on our website. I'll post that again. But again, thank you so much for sitting with me today. You were such a blessing.
This has been awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you later.